Hello. In this video, we will be creating an automation that will be interacting with the Chrome browser using the native browser commands available in OpenBots Studio and with the Excel commands as well. This process will be responsible for accessing the eBay website, performing multiple searches for multiple items. This is the spreadsheet that we'll be using. This contains two columns containing the product name and the column that will be used to store the price that will be extracted from the eBay website. So to start, I've just gone ahead here and I've created an initial project here and placed the spreadsheet that we'll be using for this particular process here inside of the project folder. To begin, I will have to have the automation first begin by initializing the Excel instance by utilizing the create Excel application command. To start, we'll have to create a variable to store the instance name information regarding this particular instance of Excel that we'll be using in this particular run. So I'll go ahead and use the Control+K hotkey to create a new variable. I'll go ahead and give this variable the name vxl. And when we are creating variables to store the instance of different applications, we have to create a variable of the OB_app instance type, shown here in the bottom of the dropdown. Once you have this variable created, we can again go ahead and specify here that we're going to be opening a pre-existing workbook. Then we'll go ahead and use the select file feature available under the workbook file path parameter to select the specific file that we'll be opening using this command. And finally, we'll click OK to add the command to our automation. I'm going to go ahead now and delete the show message that's always started up at the beginning of each of our new projects. Next, I will go ahead and now that I have the Excel instance open, I will utilize the getRange command in order to extract the information from the spreadsheet. I'll go ahead and insert the application instance variable that we created to indicate the automation which instance of Excel needs to be referenced here. I will leave the rest of the parameters on the default values to extract all the information that's being stored in the spreadsheet. All I'll have to do here is under the output data table variable parameter is to go ahead and create the variable that's going to be used to store the information into a data table variable. I'll go ahead and name this one vExtractedData. And I will select the appropriate type here, data table. Go ahead and close this out. Now that we have the information extracted from the spreadsheet, we can go ahead and begin opening the instance of Excel of Chrome that we're going to be working with. As mentioned at the beginning, we're going to be using the native browser commands available in OpenBots Studio to interact with the Chrome browser. It's important to note that before using the native browser commands, you must ensure that you have installed the appropriate extension from OpenBots Studio in order to successfully utilize these commands. To do this, you can do this by navigating under the Options tab located here in the toolbar and selecting the Extensions Manager option here. This will pull up the 3 different extensions that we currently have available in version 1.7.0 of OpenBots Studio, each for the corresponding browsers that we currently support. Ensure that you have the corresponding extension you intend to use installed, and ensure that in the browser itself, after installation has been completed, that you have enabled the extension as well. Once we have the extension set up, we can go ahead and begin by using the native browser commands. To start, I will go ahead and look up the native browser create application command located here at the top to initialize the instance. Just as with Excel, we'll have to create a new variable to store the instance that we're going to be referencing here for the Chrome browser. So I'll go ahead and call this one vBrowser. And once again, this will be, of course, of the OB_app instance type. We'll then specify here that we'll be opening using the Chrome browser. And on the URL, we'll indicate that we want the instance to be opened in the eBay website. I'm going to go ahead here and comment out these 2 first commands that we have added to our automation. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick run so that I can have the native browser command open up Chrome for me so I can begin using it in order to build out our automation. This will also help us verify that the extension that we added to our Chrome browser is working as expected. It'll take a couple moments here while it maximizes the window and the automation is complete. So the first step that the automation will need to take once it's here on the eBay website is going to be to perform a search using the search bar to search for the item. However, before we do that, we are working with a data table for multiple items that we need to perform the search for. So after we have initialized the instance of Chrome browser, we're going to go ahead and utilize the for each loop to go ahead and iterate through our extracted data table. All we have to do here is on the input collection, is specify the variable that contains the information. We'll have to make sure that we cast this data table as .rows, as this parameter is expecting a data row collection as input. Next, we'll go ahead and create a new variable for the output parameter, which will have to be of the data row type. We'll call this our vCurrentItem. Here in the dropdown, we'll select the data row option. And now we can begin building out the functionality for each item on the data table. So to start with, we'll have to type into that search bar that's in the eBay website. We can do this by looking up the native browser setText command. Once again, we'll reference the instance by providing it the vBrowser instance variable. And as we can see here, under the element search parameter, we'll have to go ahead and define the parameters for the element that we're going to be we'll be interacting with in this command. For the purpose of the exercise, we'll be utilizing this native element recorder feature that's available through all of our native browser commands. All you have to do is select this option, native element recorder. And then once we have the confirmation from the top left that the recorder is awaiting our input, we'll go ahead and ensure that the correct element on the Chrome website is being highlighted, and then left click on it. Once you do this, the OpenBots Studio will go ahead and automatically extract all the appropriate values for the element that you have indicated, and select the appropriate parameters that should be a best fit for being able to identify the elements. In this case, both the XPath and the relative XPath. Next, we'll go ahead and provide it with a text that needs to type into the field that we have indicated. This will be a value that's being stored in the data row called vCurrentItem. Now we'll indicate the specific column that contains the data that we need to input. In this case, the column name should be product. And we'll need to ensure that it is the appropriate type, in this case expecting a string type value, by casting it as .toString. Then we'll go ahead and change the simulate type parameter that's available here in order to have it simulate the type action rather than use the actual software that's related to the hardware of the keyboard. Go ahead and click OK to add the command. We'll need to make sure that we drag it inside the for each loop. Next, after typing into that search bar, we'll go ahead and now look up the native browser click element command so that we can click on the search button to perform the necessary search. We'll go ahead and click and drag this right underneath the setText command that we just added. And now we'll begin setting up the parameters for this as well. So we'll go ahead here and indicate the browser instance, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll go ahead and select the native element recorder, highlight the search button here, and then left click. Once again, we'll also go ahead and change the click type here from its default mouse click to the simulate click. Now, what I'm going to do here is, in order to set up the next command here that we need, I'm going to open up the spreadsheet so I can grab one of the names of the items that we have listed here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this over. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch back to our Chrome browser and perform a search for this item so I can get to the screen that I need to extract the element from. So in this case, for this particular automation, what we're trying to do is extract the first value that appears after performing the search for each of these items. So for example, for this Logitech keyboard item, we're going to try to extract this particular price here, as it is the first one that appears in our search results. So we're going to go ahead here and go back now into our OpenBots Studio automation. We'll go ahead here, and now what we want to utilize is the native browser getText command to extract that value. Once again, we can go ahead and click and drag this here. We'll indicate once again the variable instance, and then use the native element recorder to highlight the price here, left click on it. And then all we have to do here under the output text variable is to go ahead and create a new variable that's going to be used to store the extracted information. We'll call this one vPrice, and this will be of a string type. Now let's go ahead and store the information into the data row. So what we're going to do here is look up the appropriate command. If we look up data tables, we'll be able to see here we have a command called update data row value. We'll go ahead and include this here after we extract the information. What we're going to do here is indicate that we're updating the data row that we currently have under vCurrentItem. Under search option, we're going to indicate that the column we're updating, we're going to specify that by using the name of the column itself. Under search value, we'll go ahead and give it the name of the column, which in this case is price. On the sell value, we'll pass it the value that we extracted from the eBay website, which in this case is being stored in the vPrice variable. And finally, under output data row variable, we'll reselect the vCurrent item data row to indicate that the updated data row should be stored in the same variable. Lastly, the last step we will take inside of this for each loop is to go ahead and reset the eBay website by having it navigate back to the eBay homepage. To do this, we will go ahead and utilize the native browser navigate back command. All this is going to require us to do is to go ahead and indicate the instance of the browser that we're interacting with using the vBrowser variable. That will conclude the functionality that we need to do for each item in the data table. At this point, at the end of our automation, all we need to do now is to go ahead and close out the Chrome browser, utilizing the native browser close command. Once again, just indicate the instance that we're closing out. Next, we'll go ahead and write the updated data table that now contains the prices into the Excel spreadsheet. So we can do this by utilizing the write range command. Indicate the Excel instance, but we're using the vXL variable. Indicate the updated data table that we're writing out, which is the vExtracted data variable. And then finally, we'll go ahead and close out the Excel instance that we have by utilizing the close Excel application command. Once again, all we have to do here is once again reference the Excel instance variable. And with this, we have finished building out the functionality for this particular automation. So let me go ahead and now close out this Chrome instance here. And then we can confirm here, if I open up the spreadsheet, that at the moment the spreadsheet will only contain the name of the products, but the price column is currently empty for both of these items. And now let's go ahead and close this out and give this automation a quick run to make sure that it's working as expected. Okay, here comes the first search. The second search is being performed for the second item. Once it is complete, it's going to go ahead and close out. And as you can see here, according to the logs, everything went successfully. So now we can close this engine log here and pull up the spreadsheet so we can confirm that the information was stored successfully. And as you can see here, now we have the corresponding prices for each item located here in the spreadsheet. So this concludes this particular video that demonstrates how we can use the native browser commands to go ahead and navigate our way through a Chrome browser website, and of course using the Excel commands to interact with an Excel spreadsheet. Thanks for watching.